Hope is not a plan. The leaders always rise to the top. If you are a winner, you will figure out how to do 10 a week. Those three numbers will give you the compass to how to succeed. Welcome everyone to our FFL Haven team huddle. So we're going to go over the numbers because the numbers tell the story. So this week was weak, and this is what you'll find is the leaders always rise to the top. So when most people aren't working, the leaders show up. So as a leader, if that's you, you're going to notice the numbers dip during holiday season, right? And the truth is the players are the only ones that show up, right? Now, if you're a player, you just plan your success. Hey, no one's saying don't take breaks. Here's what we know though. The reason we love like the, I don't know, Peyton Mannings, the Brett Favres, the Tom Brady's is because no matter what situation they're in, they just make it happen. Like it's almost like magic. It's almost like you guys remember when you used to watch cartoons, right? It doesn't matter how bad it is. The superhero always wins and you love it. That's why we cheer them on because they're winners. If you are a winner, you will figure out how to do 10 a week. Now you're saying, oh, I got it. No. Winners figure it out. And this is what I discovered over time. And this is what you'll discover. You will be able to, if you want to go on a vacation, cool. You'll do your 10 in 2 days, 3 days, right? Or maybe you don't. Maybe instead of, you're going on a vacay, you do 20 this week. Winners just figure it out. So what I'm saying to say this, the numbers this week, they were lower on purpose for everyone was because, of course, the most of the average were taking time off and they didn't plan their success as if this wasn't happening during the week. And so if you're not average, then you always plan ahead. You know what your numbers don't deviate, right? You should be helping 5 families a week or 10 families a week. That's about average, right? If you're full-time, normally you're looking about 10 to 20 a week. Part-time, 2 to 5 a week is typical, right? So going to numbers, we helped 23 families this last week. I helped 6, and hey, girl, I am not worthy. Kudos to you, Lacey. 6 families, awesome job, right? She's going to be on a podcast soon, guys, and you're going to hear the story behind the story of what she's doing. And here's all it is, nothing special. She's just working hard. That's it. She just buy leads, dial leads, run appointments. That right, Lacey? That's it. Nothing special, right? People ask, oh, what do you do? No, she just buys leads, dials leads, and runs appointments. I mean, hooked on appointments work for me too, right? It's simple. It's just hard work. I'm going on. Wendell, he came and helped 2 families. Woody, well done, 2 families. Amy, you helped 1. Dwayne helped 1. Vernon, great job. You helped 1. Ashley, she came in. Again, her first family helped. She helped 1 as well as Rose helped 1 as well. So let's transition to the topic at hand. Okay, listen. The goal is winning. Here's the bottom line. If you're taking notes, that would be a good time. If you can't measure it, you cannot manage it. Remember that. So the worst thing that could happen, imagine the anxiety you would feel if you were test driving a car. It looks good on the outside. You jump in, you start driving it, you turn right, but it turns left instead. Like, some of you have felt this when you've had like an alignment issue in a car where it's like hard to stay one direction. It's hard to drive. After a while, you got like a big muscle because you've been struggling with that car all day. No one likes to drive a car like that. You like consistency. You like to know where you're going. Or how about this? What if you press on the gas and used it a little bit, but instead of that little bit that you were thinking would happen, it floored the thing. And all of a sudden, boom, you like jerked. How would you like that? No one would. Last example. Hey, you thinking you're going to brake. You just doing a little soft brake. All of a sudden, like you just slam hard on the brakes. Who would like that? No one would. Then the question is, why are you doing that to yourself and your business? What I'm saying is, if you have no structure, if you have no expectations, then you will fall out of the business, because the human mind will never begin a process that it does not think it can finish, period. What do I mean by that? Well, you have to know your numbers. So when we talk about these things, well, here's what I'm talking about. There are certain things you should know guaranteed each time you dial. Each time you're working, there are certain landmarks, expectations that you know you should be hitting. Baselines is what they're called. And you need to judge yourself on how well you're doing to accomplish that baseline. How close are you at hitting the standard? Example, one standard is if you're dialing for book appointments, you should be booking about 2 appointments an hour. So you figure 2 times 8 is 16. So if you want 16 appointments the next 2 days, you should be booking to an hour. Well, how are you doing? Some of us, we say, I don't know, I don't know. Well, why don't you know? Is this not are we playing make-believe here? Is this Monopoly money? Why in the world do you not know? And this is the real game, right? You go drive a car. Hey, do you have a driver's license? I don't know. What do you want to go to jail? Right? So there's just a couple of things you have to know. So let's write these down. First things first, if you're dialing, understand you need to be booking 2 appointments an hour if you're going in-home, right? Typically, you're looking 15 appointments-ish the next couple of days is what you should have, right? How well are you doing in that hour? So when you're doing a dial session, a couple of numbers you got to be gauging. Minimum, you should always know what are your total number of dials. Each time you dial out, it's a mark. Each time you hit that button, it's a mark. And typically we triple dial. So you're going to divide that by 3, and that will tell you the number of dials, a number of leads you contacted. Second number that you should know like clockwork. I should be able to, at any moment of your dial session, say, hey, Melissa, what's your answer rate right now? Oh, all right, you should know where you are. Hey, how many dials have you made? You should know, right? Second thing you should know is what your answer rate is. Well, how do you know that? How many people answer the phone? So how many total dials is the first one. How many total people answer the phone? Fact, this is just, you can take this to the bank. You should have a 25% answer rate on average. Sometimes 23, it's close enough. Between 25 to 30% is what you should be having. I'm talking like clockwork. If it's lower than that, there is an issue. Maybe, I don't know, showing a spam is what your number is. Something is off. If it's lower than 20%, something is off, right? That's one. And then, of course, the third thing that you should know is, well, how many appointments did you book, or how many presentations have you done? Those 3 numbers will give you the compass to how to succeed. I'll give you a prime example. So I don't know if he's on, Eric. Eric was on today. We were talking this morning about what the standard was. Now, Eric, I don't know if you knew what the standard was or not, but knowing the standard, we were able to help him track his progress. I said, hey, Eric, we book 2 appointments an hour is typical. How are you doing? He goes, well, I book, he says normally he books 4 appointments, not an hour. I think in a few hours, right? So let's say you're only booking 1 an hour. Now we know, okay, he dials, X leads, total number of leads is what he dials. Let's say it took me 100 dials to get a hold of, 4 people. And I only booked 1 appointment. And if some of you are looking at that number, you're looking 100, 4, and 1. Some of you look at that number and you frown, womp, womp, womp. Here's where the difference comes in as far as your attitude and your mentality. I was not looking for it to be easy. I just wanted possible. I just wanted a fair playing ground because I knew I would work out the difference. The question is, will you work out the difference? And that's where people come in, where we tell people this is about work, not about skill. And they look at it, they're like, oh, is it gonna take me that much work? Well, I didn't make you, you did, right? I didn't create the baggage that you had. I didn't think the way you think. I didn't live your life. Whatever you have, the skill set that you bring to the table, that's on you, not me, right? Because it doesn't take me that much. It takes me less, but I pay the price somewhere. I had already worked some things out. So what I'm saying is, I looked at the number. I said, 1 appointment out of 100 dials. I was like, okay, so if I want 4 appointments, I need to make 400 dials. I can do that. I can do that. You see how that liberates you versus feeling like, oh, that's all I'm doing. No, well, here's that. This is exactly what I did. So I say, you know what? I'm going to make 400 dials. I should book 4 appointments. So when you are making your dial session, there should be you should know what you're expecting from the results before you even dial. Because if you're going this hoping that you're going to make something out of it, hope is not a plan, and hope will get you killed, right? We're talking about, this is military. We're in a war zone, and your hopes and dreams are the targets. And if you go out there just hoping, they're about to get scalped, sniped out. You better plan your mission, right? No, hey, you should be at this, but you should be X clicks after 5 seconds. You need to know what you're doing. So again, liberate yourself and know what does it take for you to improve. And the only way you can know that is by knowing your numbers. So inspect what you expect. And guys, I say this to say that to say this. We like as people to overcomplicate things. So at whatever level you are right now, if I ask someone who was not succeeding, why aren't you succeeding? People who are not responsible, they will give you excuses. They will say, well, it's because Venus was on the, its orbital plane was kind of going to the right and needed, 360-degree turn. Because of that turn, the sun hit it this way, and that sun's trajectory came to the earth. And because that sun, it didn't hit my computer right, and it didn't hit my computer right, but it didn't hit those clients right. It is a complicated reason why they're not winning. But you know what successful people say? They keep it simple. They say it's just because of this. Here's the truth. The reason people that fail make their reasons complicated is because if they can make it complicated, it's not their fault. They don't want to take responsibility. But if you make it simple, like, hey, why aren't you succeeding? Oh, I'm just not working hard enough. Oh, my closing sucks. Oh, my intro is really bad, and I'm not adjusting very well. Oh, I'm not waking up early enough to work on this skill. I'm putting in the same effort, expecting a different result. You know what? I'm taking responsibility. That's the difference. So I'm saying, here's a chance for you to take responsibility by inspecting your numbers. And if you simply embrace it's uncomfortable. And this is the conversation. This is why most people do not win, because the work that you're doing as an entrepreneur, the people that I listed on the board, these are people who are willing to look themselves in the face and say, hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to take responsibility for myself. I'm going to say why I'm not winning is because of this. I'm going to look at the numbers and, hey, I'm going to accept the fact that right now I may not be very good, but I'm going to say at the same time, I'm willing to get better. And better than that, I'm going to have a plan in place, and I'm going to make myself accountable to someone else. And I'm going to say, you know what? I should have done this by next week. And here's where that comes. The way you learn how to win, y'all, is by winning. Whatever plan you put in place, the winning mentality comes from winning. I'm going to give this example and I'll move on to the next topic. You'll see a lot of soccer players. Soccer, you see the little ball. The best teams, they call it ticky-tacky football. And I always wondered, man, like, why is this guy, he's the defender, why is he passing back to this guy? Why is he passing, just cut all that passing, go straight to the guy right there and just move on? No. It's winning mentality football. How? Well, the more passes that you do as a team successfully, the more your confidence brews. That's how it worked in soccer. So I don't care if you were like literally 2 seconds from me, I'll pass it to you, pass me. We just keep passing it back because our confidence is growing and growing and growing. And guess what happens when your confidence grows? Your creativity grows as well. So that's why they've already done 10, 20 passes in the back end. They go to the front end. Now everyone's jiving, everyone's moving. Now their creativity, the coach can't tell them how to score. They have to figure that out. But they've been built in a momentum state that now they can figure it out. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is you learn how to win by winning. When you create that number that you need to hit, it's a number that you can control. You can control the number of dials. Now, you can't control how many pick up, but you can't control the number of dials. But here's what happens. If you control the number of dials, you control how many people pick up, because that number is just the numbers. And here's what I found out. If you make 100 dials, if you make X number of dials, so, it's about a 25% answer rate. How did I find that number out? I dialed enough. And here's what Einstein said. I believe it was Einstein. He said, if you do something long enough, actually it was Jim Rohn, I believe. He says a ratio will appear. That's like gravity. So guess what happened? I was like, wait a minute, that's interesting. I called this number of leads and 25%, interesting. I called another day, I said, interesting. I did it enough times. I know it's about a 25% answer rate every time. Now, if you have to dial enough to get that good ratio, you can't dial one time. Like I had an agent once. I told him to buy some leads. Buy about 150, 200. They said, okay. And they came back, oh man, this don't work. I said, what? What do you mean it doesn't work? What happened? Yeah, I dialed the leads and they weren't interested. I said, wait, how many leads did you dial? 5. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You got to give the experiment enough data so that it can even out. That's just numbers. So again, going back to what I'm saying is know your numbers, inspect your numbers, be preoccupied with them. But the way you win is by focusing on the number that you can control, which is related to your work ethic, which is dials. When you dial, all the other numbers will just even themselves out. And go back to what we talked about with Eric. Listen, if you know that it takes X amount of effort on your end, it's like a lever. If you pull this lever so hard, that lever will pull up. You may not be able to control that lever with your mind. Well, you can control it with your hand because however much effort you put here, that is proportionate relation. I know this is scientific talk, but it's just the numbers. So you control it all. You just got to be able to at least know the numbers and put in the work. So standard again is 2 appointments an hour. So if you work a normal 8-hour day, you should have booked 15 or 16 appointments. If that standard is not there, you got to ask yourself, okay, why? Now, you maybe ask yourself initially, but you should have one of your field support, one of your support team, help them go through the numbers with you. Why am I not hitting these numbers? And if you want help, you better bring your numbers with you. Don't ever go to your field support asking questions. You don't even have numbers to back up. Because if you come to field support and say, hey, I'm not doing so hot. The first question they're going to ask you, if they're smart, well, let me see your activity tracker. Activity who? Yeah, because without the numbers, you can't imagine anything. So that's good there. All right, last topic, and I'm going to throw it out for Q&A. This is a short week, is staying in your lane. I'm going to tell you a situation that just happened to me. All right, we are in the simplified issue space. You know what that means? Simplified issue means, the difference between simple and complicated? Simple is simple, easy-ish, complicated is complicated. Simplified issue means non-medical, it's plain Jane, we just do it, right? So if you go to Burger King and you ask for, number 1, they'll give you number 1. But if you go to Burger King and you ask them for cordon bleu with a little bit of cherry on the top, and you want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, guess what they're gonna tell you? We don't do that here. Oh, I want a steak that I want medium rare. No, we don't do that here, bro. It's number 1, number 2, number 3, or maybe you want number 6 and number 5. Like, follow their menu. When you go into BK, they will try to cater you, but it's according to their menu. Here's what I mean by that. You're gonna reach and meet a lot of people who they almost try. I don't want to say try. They don't know any better, but they can deviate you from you staying in your lane. What do I mean? Well, keep it simple when you're going through clients. You're going to have clients asking for things that they cannot have, and you will be tempted to jump through hoops to cater to them. That's not what you're doing. I'll give you an example. Got a client, hey, I fell for a rookie mistake just like literally an hour ago, running through these situations. Maybe it was the holiday fog. I'll blame it on that. I'm pointing to myself because it happens every once in a while. You have a client that's been on this medication. I'll give you a perfect situation. Client was about 55, 58. I had, this medication, that medication for high blood pressure, had some for cholesterol, had this and that. And also he had a build issue. Height and weight was not proportional. And the client just happened to make a good 10, 20 grand a month. That's what kind of got me off my game. It got me off my game. The client was wealthy. He had money. I had to find something. So I normally would have just said, okay, looking at that, we're going whole life. And by the way, they had a $500,000 mortgage that we were looking to take care of. So naturally, it kind of got me off my game. I got distracted in keeping it simple, right? And I started off right, but then I got deviated. I said, hey, we're going to build like a house, foundation, wall, ceiling. Basically, follow your gut is what you should be doing if you want to keep it simple. Those are a couple of pointers. You guys, even if you're brand new, follow your dang gut. You know what you should be doing. You've been at this long enough. Man, you know. I mean, hey, listen, if it looks like a fish, smells like a fish, it's probably a fish. If it's unlikely that it'll qualify for term, stop going there. Keep your space. You're not a Nordstrom's. We are I don't know, Walmart. Maybe you are a Nordstrom's. You don't do Walmart, right? Keep it simple and offer what you offer, because the time, and so here's what happened. So I'm kind of dancing this. I mean, I'd just get them approved during the process. But I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that, I'm thinking infinite banking. All of these options are going through my head and I get confused. Guys, I don't know if you've ever had this situation. If it hasn't happened to you, it will. I'm sitting, and this has happened a couple of times when I've been in the business. I'm going through the financial inventory. I'm looking at it now, I'm seeing the numbers. And has it ever happened to you where you're looking at all the information, all the data, and I literally have a brain freeze? Like my head, I have no idea where to go. Now, if it hasn't happened to you, will. The idea that it happened to me is weird because people ask me for underwriting help. I should have looked at this, okay. I should have known. But you know why that happened to me? Why I got like a crash, a four-way stop? I was overcomplicating it. I was out of my lane. I should have kept myself in the simplified issue space. Presented that option. If that option was not appropriate, I'm sorry, we can't help you. That's what I should have done. So I'm just sharing that with you. If you're brand new, you don't have to know it all for you to succeed. You know how I helped over 400 families my first year? I didn't help any one person. I had never done one IUL, ever. One, none. Every policy I did was final expense. It was a whole life, simple. Now there are people that were asking different questions, but you know what? I didn't know any better. I didn't even know what IUL was. And I had too much time because I had to go make money. I don't got time for all that stuff. I was doing so much activity that I had to just stack the deck in my favor. And I had to stay in my lane. And at that time, I was good enough. At that point, I kept it simple. But now that I'm learned, now I want to overcomplicate it. So what I'm saying is you don't have to know it all. Just keep it simple. It's simply final expense or term. If they can't qualify for term, it's okay. You have to learn how to maybe angle it, right? It might be a BK sandwich, but you can say it differently, right? You might be ordering a straight basic sandwich, but you don't got to throw it at the client. You can say, hey, you can present it nicely, share the benefits, maybe, for example, it's a whole life program, but, instead of whole life, they don't know what that means. If you're going mortgage protection, maybe it's an equity conservation, right? What this is going to do for you is going to make house payments. Find a need to fit what they're trying to do. And the problem that I had, the reason that I got confused and I got out of my lane was I forgot the purpose of what I was doing. And I'm going to give you a real example. This is it. They're bringing together, they're bringing in the wife and the husband, 20 grand a month. And I forgot the purpose. I got out of my lane. And part of it is because I probably, I'm rusty. Is after the holiday, right? I haven't been running enough appointments. And I should have said, you know what? This is obviously a want, not a need. And I should have just said to them straight, listen, the goal here is simply, obviously you guys will be fine. So the goal here really is to get you as much life insurance to maximize your money, right? Because you guys will be okay. But would it make sense to at least, if you can put the money in your bank account, but at least put the risk on the insurance company, wouldn't that make much sense to get as much life insurance as possible? Yeah. So I'm going to find it to buy you as much as possible. What's in your budget right now? And I'm going to go backwards. And I'm just simply present that option. But I didn't. And because of that, I went all crazy. I wasted my time. I spent minutes and hours on the wrong policies just to get declined, and then wasted my time and the client's time. So stay in your lane, simplified issue space. That will take you to the mountain. There'll be people that you'll meet, people that you'll bring on your agency that will become specialists. Maybe you'll become a specialist. But you know what makes, I would say, 80% of America? Is it the people that are wealthy that got all this money? No. You know what makes 80% of America? The mom and pops of America, the hardworking class. They don't have extra money to spend for all that stuff, right? So you need to decide right now, what business do you want to cater to? Are you wanting to cater to the rich and wealthy? If that's you, that's cool. There are people in FFL that do that. Like a Brad Allen, you'll see him at a conference. That guy does probably 2 million on his own pen, just going in and presenting different options. That's him. But, or do you want to cater to more just the mom and pop? Now, I'm not saying necessarily the person that's just struggling, but the normal average working class of America, the middle class. For me, those are my people. I was never a financial planner guy. I was never a, let's turn this one into maximum. Yes, every once in a while. But for me, I'm all about helping the average guy because I'm the average guy. I'm the guy that didn't have enough. I just needed to help take care of my family. I can relate to. That's my people. And that's a majority of America. So just remember that and you'll take care of your business. Remember, make sure you measure, inspect what you expect, know your numbers, know the standard, and stay in your lane. You're simply looking for those people. They're simply looking for you. And you find those people by making the dials. Guaranteed. So guys, that's it. That's all for the our huddle today. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but I'm not going to end the show, if you will. And I'm going to open it up for Q&A. Anything that's happened, and if anything comes to mind, I'll knock it out as well. But for those that are tuning in, thank you. Next week, we will have a special guest. And we want to do that maybe once or twice a month, so you can hear from someone else, different perspective. This is a guy came in the game, and he's helping folks at a high clip. He's out of Texas. He's helping over 40 families a month, right? Come on, he knows what he's doing. He'll share his story. And what the purpose of it is, as you hear him, you're going to hear people from different walks of life, because right now you can hear it all day long from me, but the mind is weird. It's like a puzzle, right? You know what it kind of should look like, but you're still looking to put the pieces together. You need to literally piece yourself together. When you hear from different people who have accomplished the same thing, your mind will come to one conclusion only. They can't all be high-paid actors. I just got to figure it out. And what piece you need, I don't know. All I know is you got to just plug in and you'll get the piece you need. Simple as that. So he'll be here next week. His name is Ian Groves. He'll be here next week.